After 1945, the Allies of the Second World War quickly divided, reflecting their different politics and ideals. Both sides formed new alliances. The Western Allies of Britain, the United States, and other European nations formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. The Soviet Union later responded with the Warsaw Pact. The split was most visible in Europe with the division of Germany and the physical building of the Berlin Wall.
Well, at the end of the Second World War, the Western Allies had met the Soviet Union, and each was controlling their own zone of Germany. Although they'd been allied against the Germans, it quickly became apparent that the Soviet Union had ambitions towards Europe. Stalin was still making expansionist noises for the Soviet Union, and from 1947, East and West were confronting each other with a lot of military hardware and the potential for a very dangerous conflict if it had ever got out of hand. This confrontation became known as the Cold War. It actually took place all over the globe. The two superpowers confronted each other in the Pacific, in Southeast Asia, in South America, in Central America, as well as in Europe.
Both East and West tried to increase their military power around the world. But a full-scale war risked the use of nuclear weapons, which would have been devastating for both sides. Therefore, they kept a close eye on each other. The RAF provided crucial aerial reconnaissance on Soviet movements.
In the 1970s, I was in the Mediterranean, and I commanded a reconnaissance intelligence centre in Malta. We had Nimrod 203 Squadron and we had Canberra's 13 Squadron, and we were checking on the Russian-Soviet fleet and their submarine force. And if we saw the Soviet fleet, which we did regularly, we would go out and photograph them.
Expert photographs could help to reveal military activity on land, at sea, and in the air. Intelligence images were just as important as developing weapons. Both sides relied heavily on the skillful analysis of these photographs.
It was very demanding, and it was a highly skilled job because you had to recognise all Soviet equipment, bridges, dams, railways, military equipment, whatever it was. You had to recognise it and report it by name. We were looking for activity that would have had significance, or major equipment moves. If you saw a Russian tank battalion moving, you wanted to know where it was going and why it was going.
During thousands of flights, millions of photographs were taken. This enabled the West to follow what the Soviets and their allies were doing in great detail.
Now, when the aircraft flew, it would be tasked to photograph at least 3 targets. This is in the main F-95 photography, as we call it, coming from the F-95 camera. It took many frames a second, and they would have overlapped at 60%. Now, 60% overlap means that everything on the ground is covered on at least 2 photographs. Now, those 2 photographs will give you stereo pictures of the ground, and the F-95 photography was all viewable in 3 dimensions. The ability to see everything in 3D was a huge intelligence advantage.
For both sides, meticulous intelligence gathering was a major factor in ensuring that the Cold War didn't escalate into full-blown conflict. Today, aerial reconnaissance and expert analysis still play central roles in all military and intelligence operations.
Spying and information gathering, as well as disinformation, were crucial in the Cold War, and the information that was fed back and gathered informed both sides' decisions.
Aerial reconnaissance was incredibly important because it gave us an insight into what the enemy was doing that you could get from no other way, and it was accurate and you couldn't fool it in the main. Intelligence is the key to success.